The United States deployed one of the most diverse naval fleets in history: massive battleships, fast carriers, destroyer swarms, cruisers, submarines, and experimental hybrids. From pre-war relics to cutting-edge powerhouses, this video breaks down every major American warship that fought in World War II. Let's begin with the battleships. Early battleships. U.S. Nevada-class, Nevada and Oklahoma. The Nevada-class represented a major leap: oil-fueled boilers, triple turrets, and armor focused on vital areas. U.S. Nevada survived Pearl Harbor, one of the only battleships to get underway under fire. U.S. Oklahoma capsized after multiple torpedo hits, becoming one of the war's most tragic losses. U.S. Pennsylvania-class. Heavily armored World War I-era ships modernized with stronger AA guns and radar. U.S. Pennsylvania survived the entire war, providing bombardment from the Aleutians to Okinawa. U.S. New Mexico-class. Known as the Reef battleships, these ships formed the backbone of early Pacific operations. They featured improved fire control, 14-inch guns, and strong seaworthiness, ideal for island-hopping support. These early battleships were slow and outdated by war standards, but they marked America's first steps in reclaiming Pacific dominance. Let's move on to the fast battleships. U.S. North Carolina-class. America's first modern battleships of the war, fast, powerful, and designed to escort carriers. Their 16-inch guns and powerful radar made them deadly surface combatants. U.S. South Dakota-class. Compact but heavily armored, these ships fought in some of the most intense naval battles of the Pacific. U.S. South Dakota survived dozens of hits in the Battle of Guadalcanal and kept fighting. U.S. Iowa-class. The pinnacle of American battleship design. Fast, sleek, and armed with 9/16-inch/50 caliber guns, the Iowa-class could outrun older ships and outgun anything afloat. They served into the 1990s, proof of their unmatched engineering. Let's continue with the aircraft carriers. U.S. Lexington-class. Originally designed as battlecruisers, they became some of the first American fleet carriers. U.S. Lexington was lost at Coral Sea, while U.S. Saratoga served throughout the war despite multiple torpedo hits. U.S. Yorktown-class. Yorktown, Enterprise, Hornet. The carriers that stopped Japan's expansion. U.S. Yorktown anchored Victory at Midway before sinking. U.S. Enterprise became the most decorated ship in U.S. Navy history. U.S. Hornet launched the Doolittle raid and fought at Santa Cruz. Agile, durable, and brilliantly designed, they formed the backbone of early U.S. carrier warfare. U.S. Essex-class. The workhorse of the Pacific Fleet. Fast, reliable, and produced in large numbers, Essex-class carriers led every major offensive from 1943 onward. They carried more aircraft, launched faster strikes, and sustained brutal damage while staying in the fight. Light carriers, Independence-class. Converted from cruiser hulls, these were fast, flexible carriers used for screening carrier groups, conducting smaller raids, supporting amphibious landings. They lacked heavy armor, but made up for it with speed and usefulness. Now let's move on to the cruisers. Heavy cruisers, New Orleans and Portland classes. These ships fought in the most chaotic night battles of the Solomon Islands. Heavily armed with 8-inch guns and thick belt armor, they slugged through torpedoes, shell hits, and fires with surprising resilience. Baltimore-class heavy cruisers. A late-war design, fast, modern, and built with advanced radar. They provided powerful gunfire support and escorted fast carrier task forces. Light cruisers, Brooklyn-class. Armed with 15 6-inch guns, the Brooklyns poured out devastating broadsides. They were perfect for screening carriers and hunting destroyers. Cleveland-class light cruisers. The most produced cruiser class in world history. Durable, balanced, and loaded with anti-aircraft weapons, the Clevelands became essential in every major Pacific operation. Let's continue with the destroyers. Farragut, Mahan, and Gridley classes. These early war destroyers formed the first defensive screen around carriers. Fast but lightly built, they struggled against Japanese long-range torpedoes early in the war. Bagley and Benham classes. Known for their powerful torpedo batteries, these ships participated in the brutal nighttime battles around Guadalcanal. Porter-class destroyer leaders. Larger destroyers meant to command flotillas, fast and heavily armed but mechanically unreliable. Gleaves and Benson classes. A balanced, dependable design used across both the Atlantic and Pacific. Excellent for escorting convoys and defending against submarines and aircraft. Fletcher-class. The most famous American destroyers of the war. Rugged, heavily armed, and extremely reliable, Fletchers fought everywhere, from destroyer duels to kamikaze screens. Allen M., Sumner, and Gearing classes. Improved versions of the Fletcher, with more AA guns, better stability, longer range, gearing. These late-war destroyers formed the cutting edge of U.S. fleet protection. Let's move on to submarines. Gato-class, the backbone of the U.S. submarine force. Long-range, durable, and well-built, Gato-class subs crippled Japan's merchant fleet. Balao-class, improved diving depth and stronger hulls allowed these subs to survive depth charge attacks that destroyed earlier models. They became the most successful American submarine class. Tambor and Gar classes, early war submarines that paved the way for later success. Though hampered by faulty torpedoes in 1942, they gathered vital intel and launched the first wartime patrols. S-class, obsolete World War I era relics still used for training and coastal defense. Now let's continue with escort ships. Destroyer escorts, small, economical warships designed for convoy protection. They fought in anti-submarine warfare, Atlantic convoy duty, Pacific resupply missions. The famous U.S. England sank 6 Japanese submarines in 12 days. Escort carriers, slow but essential. They escorted convoys, launched anti-submarine patrols, and supported landings. Some CVs faced kamikaze attacks and survived due to their surprisingly strong construction. Let's move on to amphibious warfare ships. Attack transports carried Marines to every major beach in the Pacific: Guadalcanal, Tarawa, Saipan, Iwo Jima, Okinawa. Landing ship, tank. Large, steel-hulled ships that delivered tanks directly onto beaches. Slow and ugly, but absolutely vital. Landing craft infantry, used to deploy infantry assault groups directly onto hostile shores. Let's continue with patrol and specialized vessels. PT boats, fast, nimble, wooden torpedo boats best known for JFK's PT-109. Used for scouting, torpedo attacks, nighttime harassment, rescuing downed airmen. Minesweepers, cleared deadly minefields ahead of fleet operations. Often overlooked, but essential to every landing operation. Seaplane tenders, supported long-range patrol aircraft across the Pacific's remote islands. Let's finish with the experimental and unique ships. USS Long Beach-class prototypes. Pre-war large cruisers redesigned, but never mass-produced. Alaska-class large cruisers. Massive cruiser killers, bigger than heavy cruisers, smaller than battleships. Fast, heavily armored, and armed with 12-inch guns, they escorted carrier groups late in the war. U.S. Langley, AV-3, originally America's first aircraft carrier. By World War II, she served as a seaplane tender and was sunk early in 1942.